I
So
need you to stop.
I just
Just stop
want.
right there.
Oh,
Just stop it. Just
oh,
stop it. Stop it.
I got
Stop it.
I got carried away.
Listen, I know that you like to have those little stories that you run on down the road,
It,
around the
it must have
corner.
been the movie I saw last night. Yeah.
What movie did you see last night?
It was a. It was called Erased.
They act like they were trying to erase me off the road this morning,
yeah.
Daryl.
It was a Netflix movie.
It was a Netflix movie.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
well, let's shout them out. That they
Yeah.
did their work and they're on Netflix. That's
Yeah.
that's a huge thing
It is.
to accomplish something like that.
Yeah.
Even if the audience is small, because it's not great work. I'm gonna leave it like that. I'm gonna leave it like that. I'm gonna leave it like that. Hey, listen. When you're out there on the road, especially these next couple of days during actually the next 2 months, I would say during the holiday season, it's very hazardous out there. People are thinking about a lot of things other than their driving, perhaps. And if that had escalated into an actual accident, it probably would have been very bad. But I believe it was merely just a misjudgment on his part, because I was
not yours for sure.
not mine for sure
Right.
this time. Listen,
Okay.
I often say that people drive like fill in the blank, okay? And sometimes it's me, and
Right.
sometimes it's you. Sometimes it's you, Daryl. Sometimes it's you.
Right. Sometimes.
It's working Wednesday though, and
Yes,
so
it
we
is.
got to go to work regardless of the situation.
Right,
We have
right,
got
right.
to get to work, and part of getting to work is knowing what work it is that we do.
Right.
I know that on Wednesday, I am the job coach with the tips to help people to get to work. That's what this show is all about. We have a good time here, and I love being here with you. But my goal, my purpose for being here, and y'all know that I am a purpose-filled person who lives on purpose. My purpose today is to give you some ideas, some tips, some guidance in the way of finding your next employment situation. Now, these tips are not restrictive to entry-level candidates. These tips are available for anyone that is searching for their next job, which includes people who are in business. Yes, it includes people who are in business, because in order for
What
you
do
to
you
stay in business, you better have some jobs to do.
Oh,
Yeah,
makes sense.
Meeting some needs of some potential customers is how you stay in business. But we're going to talk today specifically about networking, because this is a great time for you to be networking. Thanksgiving. Let's think about the setup of Thanksgiving. Yeah, you get together with family members, but they're family members that you haven't seen since the last holiday or since maybe the last Thanksgiving. So this is a good time for you to connect with that person, those people that you haven't seen for a while, that might be able to help you get to work, might be able to help you secure the next client, might be able to help you get the next job that you may be looking for. Now, some of you don't know that this is a call-in show, and our number is 813-444-9588. If you have questions about how to get to work on Working Wednesday, if you have a question that's been burning the bottom of your feet and saying, man, I really wish somebody could answer this for me. I wish I had a job coach, because I know that's what people walk around thinking all day long. I wish I had a job coach. Well, here I am, and you can reach out to me. Please take the moment and call in at 813-444-9588. I'd love to have you on the air with me and answer your questions. So, Daryl, today we're talking about networking and looking in your network for your next job. Well, I have 4 tips that I want to share today. Just 4. Just 4, because I think 4 is a very manageable number. When you're going to network, you have to be sure that you know what it is you're going to share with the person that you talk to. What I mean by that is, before you go to the event this holiday season, before you go to the party, to the dinner, whatever functions that you go to, you're going to have to do some work at home. Some people say to me, Ms. D, I just want any job. I've been looking for so long, I will take any job. And so what I decided to do when people started saying that to me was I decided that I would look up any job. So, I went to my good friend Google. And when I went to Google and I put in any job, Google did not return any job listings for me. Because unfortunately, there is not a job that is called any job. So you've got to be specific about what job you're looking for, which may mean that you need to sit down and do an assessment of what your skills are, what your abilities are, what job are you looking for, what job title, what job profile. So you probably need to do some work before you go out and start talking to people, because you've got to be specific. You've got to tell them what job you're looking for. Are you looking for something administrative? Are you looking for something in the engineering field? Are you looking for something that supports your degree in biology? Are you looking for something that supports your psychology degree? What is it that you're looking for? What are your skills and abilities? What is your background specifically? Know what it is before you start talking to people, because if you just say, I'm looking for a job, any job, they're not going to be able to help you. The networking experience is not going to be effective. If I walked up to Daryl and said, Daryl, I want a show, any show. I just want to be on the radio. Daryl would look at me and say, young lady. No, Daryl, what would you say if I walked up to you and said that? Hey, Daryl, I want a show, any show.
I'd probably say you have to be more specific than that.
See? I told you that's what would happen. Now, when Daryl and I first started talking about developing this show, Working Wednesday.
That's the nice response.
Thank you for giving us the PG response, Daryl. It's early in the morning and the kids are at home. They're not in school today, so thank you for giving us the PG response.
You're welcome.
He's so kind. When I first started talking to Daryl about having a show, someone actually recommended me. See, someone in my network told me to network and give Daryl a call. And Daryl said, well, what kind of show would you like to have? I mean, what would the topic be? And I had already been doing my tips Working Wednesday on Facebook. And so I simply said, well, let's take it to the radio. And he said, well, tell me about it. And so by telling him about it, I was able to gain his interest. Why? Because it was mine. It's my information. It was easy for me to expound on it, easy for me to give him the details and answer his questions. So when you go out to network, know specifically what you're asking people for, because they may ask you questions. You say, hey, I'm looking for a job in psychology. Well, like what? They might say. And then you have to be able to share with them what your skills and abilities are, what's your background, what is it that you're looking for. So the first tip is when you go out to network, do the homework so that you can be specific. Be specific about what job it is that you're looking for, so that when you ask someone to help you, they know what they're helping you with. I was talking to a client yesterday and she said, sometimes I think people just don't want to work. And I said, well, that may be true, but I think there's more people that don't know what work they qualify for, or don't know what work is even available. And so maybe they need a coach. Maybe they need Miss D, the job coach, is what I told her. And I said, if you know somebody that you don't think wants to actually work, give them my number. Give them my direct number, have them give me a call. I'll have a 10-minute conversation with them.
What's that number?
Oh, I'm glad you asked. My direct phone number is area code 704-277-8714. That's how you get in touch with Miss D, the job coach, when she is not on the air. If you want to talk to her on the air, we have a different number. That number is 813-444-9588. I'd love for you to call in, share your ideas, your questions, your comments. Feel free to do that. But you can always get in touch with me. You can look for me on social media also at MSD Job Coach on all social media. I'm available on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. I'm also available in LinkedIn as Margaret DeBellotte.
What do you recommend for guys that have gotten fresh out of incarceration?
That's a great question. I actually, that's a niche market that I work with and I'm very successful with, is the formerly incarcerated, because often they've had some sort of job while they were behind the door. And I recommend that they use those skills, and that's what should be on their resume. If they had a job while they were behind the door, that job is probably available in mainstream society. And if they're eligible for it, I say, hey, listen, just because you got the skills behind the door doesn't make the skills invalid. Or just because you got the skills volunteering somewhere doesn't make the skill invalid. You still know how to do it. If you know how to strip floors and you're the best floor stripper they have, then we need to go get you a job stripping floors somewhere.
So what about a guy that has not been to prison but has been locked up for 5 months, 12 months, 2 years, not prison, but just
jail.
Locked up? Yeah,
Just,
jail.
yeah, county jail or something like that. A lot of times they have jobs in there too. I
Okay.
worked for the supervisor elections, and there were guys that were from county jail,
Okay.
that were jumpsuited, that were there helping us move boxes, and
Oh.
yeah. They
Okay.
have jobs. They go out into the community. They work on the side of the road sometime, cleaning up in the city. So just depends on where they are. I often ask them, what did you do while you were in there? And if all they did was, play dominoes and read books, did they go to any classes? Because I used to work in county jail and offer classes. Did you take any classes? What did you do before you went to jail? There are one of the best stories that I tell about somebody who didn't think they had a lot of skills and went to jail, was a young man that graduated in June, and by October, because he had no guidance, he was in county jail, and that's where I met him. And then I found out that the young man played football all 4 years, and that he was in woodshop all 4 years of high school. He was a high school graduate, but he thought that he had no value. He never worked. And long story short, we worked together and helped him to develop a resume that showed that he had team
building skills.
team building skills, that he knew how to work with others, he knew how to work with tools, he knew how to follow instructions and directions, and he went to work at McDonald's, which was a perfect first job for him, and he loved that job because he had a job, he had a skill, he had a task that he was able to do successfully, and it just changed things for him and took his path in a different direction. And sometimes that's what people need. They just need a little encouragement, a little guidance about how the skills that they already have, wherever they got them from, are marketable. You have skills that are marketable. I had a conversation with a client yesterday, and one of the things that she was talking about was not actually wanting a particular job that someone had offered her. And because she had perceived that the job was too difficult and not really in her wheelhouse. And after sitting down with her and really talking it through, she discovered that just because the person who was in the job looked miserable, she didn't have to be that same person, because she had a different skill set, she had a different perspective on the business,
Right.
and she could be very, very valuable. I told her, listen, even if you don't stay in that position for a long, long time, when that person transitions out of it, if I were you, I would go after it and at least get that skill set on your resume. Some jobs, you take them to help you to build the skill sets on your resume. We've got to look at ourselves, and sometimes we need a coach to help us do it. How about that?
I like that.
Here's a number. You can call in and talk to the coach, 813-444-9588. We'll be back after this break.
Just natural. Just natural.
I got 1, 2, 3. No, I practice. You believe it or not, this is practice. A lot of people. Well, I've always wanted to do this, Daryl. That's the difference. I've always wanted to do this. I've always practiced. I've always thought about it. I was able to get behind the mic on WMNF. I'll forever be grateful to community radio for the opportunity to give me the practice. I'll forever be grateful to Supernola for helping me out and letting me learn, how to manage the mic. And Supernola's, he has a show on WMNF. Supernola's an amazing guy. I'd love to introduce you to him. He's in media, has been for years and years.
Gotcha.
And he taught me how to do the station announcements and the breaks and come on breaks and go and all of that. Yeah. So this is actually work. Some people don't think so.
Yeah, it's work. It really is.
It is. And this is what I aspire to do for a long, long time. Yeah. So you know, I'm a talker, right?
Yes,
So I've
good.
known for a very, very long time that I wanted to talk on the radio, and I wanted to share ideas with people. Now my father, my natural father, is actually in the DJ Hall of Fame, so it's probably in my blood. Yeah, my father was a DJ and a music producer.
Oh
Some
man,
people
it's
know
just
that, some people
in
don't know
your
that.
blood.
Yeah, it's
No,
there.
I didn't know
It's
that.
there. Yeah. He actually produced Kool and the Gang's Ladies Night.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Man.
My natural father, his name's Keith Carlos.
I tell you what.
And I didn't know him till I was in my 30s. So he helped me to understand a lot of things about myself when I met him and his family. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, my grandmother was in radio also. She was in radio sales. So super fun, super fun. And so to my folks here on Facebook, please like, share, follow, like, share, follow, like, share, follow. We got to go to work, y'all. It is Working Wednesday. I am Margaret DeBellotte, Miss D, the job coach, and it is Working Wednesday. Today, it is Thanksgiving Eve. Is that a thing? I don't know, but I'm going to make it a thing. It's Working Wednesday. It is Thanksgiving Eve. I am Miss D, the job coach. So happy to be here with you today. Please be sure that if you have a question, you don't hold on to it. Share it with me, 813-444-9588. We are taking calls this morning. Call in if you have a comment, question, or you just been thinking about saying hi to Miss D, the job coach. I would love to hear you this morning. If you're watching on social media, please be sure that you like and share, because sharing is caring. These tips that I'm offering about networking during your holidays, they're not just for you. Share them with your friends. You have someone in your circle of influence that you would love to help them get a job or get on with their life in terms of their career to get back with you. Make sure that you get their information. It's not good enough for them to say, oh, yeah, I'll get with you. I have some leads for you. Don't rely on them to get with you, because let's think about the setting here, right? We're walking past each other. We're exchanging food plates, and we're exchanging drinks and having a festive time. They may or may not remember for weeks that they had the conversation with you. So be sure that you get their information to follow up. Get their phone number, get their email address, follow them on Facebook, follow them on social media, find them on LinkedIn, whatever you need to do so that you can get in contact with them. Be proactive about getting back in contact with them. Don't wait for them to get in contact with you.
Have you found that most job seekers have a tendency to believe that the employer is going to get back with them, and they kind of have a nonchalant attitude of, well, they didn't call me back, or I hadn't heard from them yet, instead of them being, like you said, proactive?
Well, let's just think about, I'm a behavioral coach, and there are some behaviors that we have as it pertains to job search, and one of them is fear. We're fearful of rejection. We're fearful of the response of negativity that may come. Maybe we've experienced that before, and that's the only thing that's sticking in our mind at the time. So yes, a lot of people don't follow up. They don't. They just don't. They said, oh, well, they said they would get with me, and so then they just sit there and Johnny Bench wait. And I go, why are you waiting? Well, they said they would. And so then that's when I paint the picture of the hiring manager's day. Their day consists of what? Just calling you, or doing maybe 30 or 40 other things. And that reality helps people usually to recall that, yeah, managers are usually busy, and they mean well. They mean to get to you, and they will get to you eventually. But you can help yourself along in the process by doing the follow-up yourself.
I heard you say Johnny Bench. Who is that?
A Johnny Bench is a guy that sits on a bench and just waits. He's a fine fella.
Yeah.
He means well.
Right.
But he doesn't do a whole bunch.
Okay.
He just sits on the bench.
I thought you were referring to the baseball coach, Johnny Bench.
Maybe that's where the reference came from, that he used to sit on the bench.
He did.
See, okay, see, sometimes you just have stuff stuck there in the memory, and Johnny Bench.
But that was his real name.
That was his real name. That's funny.
Google it.
I will have to Google him. I will Google him, and I can probably post a picture of him if I can. in, he maybe even gave you the president of the company. And if you think to do the adequate follow-up, do the adequate follow-up. I mean, now people say, well, I don't want to call them, I don't want to bother them. Well, doggone it, I want to bother them. I want to know. I tell our story, Daryl. I tell the story of, I had to follow up with you a couple of times. Why? Because you're a busy guy and you had things going on, and, somebody was getting married, and a lot of different things are going on. And it wasn't, I don't think it was that I made a bad impression on you. Was it?
No, you made a lasting impression.
I tend to do that. And I encourage people to make their lasting impression. Sometimes it's your personality that attracts somebody to you. If you have a sunny disposition, share that with the potential employer. Share that during the holiday season. Share that with people who you're networking with during the holidays. Let them know not just what your skills are, but that you're pleasant to be around, because people want to hire pleasant people. I would rather hire someone who had a good disposition and a smiley face, and teach them the task along the way. If they can learn, I can teach them.
Well, my dad would always say, son, a first impression is a lasting impression, and you never get a second chance to make a first impression.
Right. You don't get a do-over.
Yeah.
You don't get a do-over. Just like you learn along the way if you play sports that sometimes you might get a second at bat and sometimes you might not. That's just the way it works. And people do remember the first impression. They may not say anything. They may not even disclose to you that they don't want you. They may not say that to you. But I think that if you follow up, and that if you are consistent and persistent professionally, you'll get an answer. You're not the right fit. You're not the person we were looking for. That position is no longer available. And guess what? All of those things, those are not rejections. I don't look at them that way. I teach my clients to understand that sometimes something you don't get is actually a blessing. There are jobs that I wished I had gotten years ago, and when I look at how the company ended up, or people in that position ended up, I was able to say, wow, I got saved from that bad experience. So learn to deal with rejection in a positive way. Learn to walk away, and sometimes you got to know when to run away. Some situations are not for you, and it's okay. So when we think about networking and looking for job leads and using people in our network, we've got to know what job we're looking for and make sure we get their information for the follow-up. The third tip that I want to offer you today is to do some research. So when you meet someone and they tell you that they can connect you with a particular company, don't just sit by and wait for them to give you all the information. Go online and try to research the company. Go do your own homework. Again, this is your career. This is the path that you're following. Yes, use your network, but don't wait for your network to do all of the work for you. If you want to know about the jobs that are available at the company that this person is willing to introduce you to, then go do some research. Go look them up. Go research the industry. Go research the company. Do what you can to be prepared, because it may happen very quickly. Daryl, I've had situations where someone referred me to something and the company contacted me before I had a chance to be ready to talk to them.
Wow.
And so when somebody does put you in there, man, you want to be in there and you want to be ready to take that call. You want to be ready to have that interaction. You want to be ready. So just like you can't always wait for them to follow up, you can't wait to get the information you need for the connection either.
Right.
There's a saying, it's better to be prepared and not have an opportunity than have an opportunity and not be prepared. Right?
Right.
So you want to be prepared. If you talk to somebody that worked for, I don't know, let's think of a big company, Amazon. If you talk to somebody during your networking, your holiday networking, and they work for Amazon, and you want them to connect you with Amazon, and they say, hey, I'll get your resume over to my boss. Well, go and look for the jobs that are available at Amazon, so that if the boss happens to contact you, you can say, yes, I was looking at the positions you have available, and be able to have a conversation about it.
Wow.
Be prepared.
Be prepared.
Be prepared. Do your research.
Yeah, and speaking of research, I did some.
Oh.
Johnny Bench.
Uh-huh.
He's actually a famous baseball catcher.
Oh, he's a catcher.
Yeah,
Okay.
wasn't a coach, a catcher.
A catcher.
I just kind of wanted to throw that out
Did you Google any job for me too?
there. I did.
What happened? I saw you over there doing it. What came up?
Well, any job came up, but they had a list of like several jobs.
Yeah.
Under any job.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you got to be specific.
And then of course they were leading you to different areas to go where you could find. I tell you what should have come up is Miss D, the job coach.
It should.
Okay, so
I'm gonna have to get with Google on that.
get with Google on that. So
When I post my new website, my SEO will probably link to that.
Absolutely.
Point to that, because I actually got a client recently when I asked, because I do follow-ups and ask questions, how did they find me?
Mhm.
And they did find me via Google. So if you put in job coach, I do come up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I have a niche market. I mean, what I do as a job coach is a niche. And I read a book called Blue Ocean Strategies, and I decided that I did not want to go to the red ocean where the sharks were. I want to go to the blue ocean.
Blue Ocean Strategies.
Yeah.
It seems like a mighty wide net to be in.
Well, what Blue Ocean Strategy, quickly I'll explain what Blue Ocean Strategies is, and it's a good tip for business owners. A really good example I got recently about Blue Ocean Strategies is a Blue Ocean strategy is going to taking something that is already established and finding yourself a niche in that thing so that you're not alongside of a lot of competition. And are you familiar with Cirque du Soleil?
I am.
Right, it's for those who are not, it's basically an acrobatic circus. It's a circus without animals. So the thing that makes circuses very expensive to operate is the animals.
Okay.
And what Cirque du Soleil did was they eliminated the animals, so they eliminated all of the stuff that goes along with the traditional circus, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they have created a beautiful show, but it is a niche. It's a niche thing. It's not what you would expect, if you will.
True.
And it's a beautiful show. I've seen it several times. Cirque du Soleil. If you've never seen it, I highly recommend it. It's a beautiful experience. Nonetheless, what they did was they took something that people understood, which was a circus, and they turned it in a different direction. So they're not competing with circuses that have animals. They're not competing with Barnum and Barnum and Bailey went out of circus business recently. So
I know, yeah, that Ringling Brothers, yeah.
Right, some stuff is coming to an end. The
Absolutely.
cycle of some things is coming to an end, and we are not coming to an end just yet, but we are coming to a break. This is Working Wednesday with Miss D, the job coach. We'll be right back. Yeah, so I'm launching a new website.
You are?
I'll have the address hopefully by next time I see you,
Okay.
because we are going to go over it to these.
You've got the domain.
No, I don't have the domain yet. We're deciding on the domain today.
Okay.
Today or tomorrow. So I don't have the domain yet. So
Okay.
as soon as because it used to be MissDTheJobCoach.com, but there's a story that goes with that, and that site shut down earlier this year, and I finally found someone to give me a website that I really wanted, that spoke to me and who I am. So
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Well, jazzy. It's a landing page. It gives you basic information and contact, and it's really for lead generation.
Okay.
You know,
Is
basic
it, is
information.
it under the Wix platform?
It is on Wix. Yeah. This website thing, man, it's a bear.
It is.
It's a bear. It's one more thing to have to manage.
It is.
And I'm a referral business. My business has thrived on referrals,
Mhm.
but I'm not naive enough to think that that's the only way, right? I need as many leads as possible.
As many leads as possible.
Yeah. So grow. That's what we set out to do in 2018, and we did it.
That's a good thing.
Because it's Working Wednesday, y'all. Working Wednesday with Miss D, the job coach. I am Margaret DeBellotte, Miss D, the job coach, and it's time to go to work. Listen, I don't know what you're doing out there. You're stuffing turkeys and cutting yams and cutting onions and all of that. And you should be thinking about going to work or helping someone else go to work. Using your network to help people get to work. There are people out there that are looking for jobs. They might be already employed and looking for their next job. And someone in their network can definitely help them. So that's what our topic is today. During the holiday season, being prepared to network and get your job leads, get your introduction to your next job or your next client while you are enjoying the holiday season. If you have a question for Miss D, the job coach, about networking or job search, feel free to call in at 813-444-9588. It is Working Wednesday, and we're talking about networking, Daryl.
Yes. And you had 4 things that you highlighted?
Yes. So we did 3. Let me get the last one.
Well, before you get the last one, are you doing anything special for the holidays?
Yes, I'm going to spend some time with friends. I've been invited actually to several places, and there's no way that I will be able to successfully go to all of those places. So I had to turn some down, but I'm going to make some rounds, eat as much as I can. We'll have let me put folks on notice. I will have Ziploc bags and plastic containers in a bag in my car. So if you have anything at your house that you think I should take home, don't worry about having the container available for me.
You're prepared.
I am prepared. I think I'm going to stop and
the
get some
opportunity.
foil paper and some saran wrap also. I think I should get those two also, because some stuff doesn't fit quite in a Ziploc bag, and if it rolls over the top of the Ziploc bowl, the bowl, that I might need some other way to affix a top to the containers. So I want to be properly prepared. I don't want to inconvenience anybody, and I don't want them to have all that extra food. So, as a single person, I believe in helping people out with their leftovers.
Well, I got this vision. So, so the vision that I just saw was, you're at somebody's home and they say, well, I got some. Why don't you take a plate? And all of a sudden, you whip open your bag and you pull out this big giant plastic bag with the Ziploc on it. I say, okay, I'm prepared.
Yes, I am prepared. Listen, I was a Girl Scout, so I believe in being prepared. Listen,
man.
when I okay, Daryl. Okay, stop telling everybody. Okay. No, seriously. I don't like people to have too much leftovers.
Are you gonna have different size bags?
Of course. What's wrong with you? Listen. I am properly prepared. Okay. You should see the back of my car, Daryl. A friend of mine said to me, "Oh, it looks like you moved into your car quite nicely, because I have nicely arranged boxes of different
I thought I
things
saw your truck open one day, and it was like real nice and neat.
It's nice and neat. I have all my supplies. I never leave home without them.
Yes.
I never leave home without them.
Okay.
I am prepared. I am a Girl
for
Scout.
opportunity.
That's right.
Yes.
Better to have an opportunity, and better to not have an opportunity and be prepared than to not be prepared and have the opportunity. I would not want someone to be inundated with too many sweet potato pies and not have any place to send them to.
Got you.
So I will stop at the store on my way out of here today and make sure I get my foil paper and my saran wrap.
Okay.
So that, because if they have the pie already in the, pie thing, then I just have to put a top on it, and it might not fit in the Ziploc bag.
Speaking of pies,
yes,
I will be making my famous pecan pie.
Now, is it pecan or pecan?
Well, it's pecan for me now. Pecan means that you came from like the Northwest or something. I don't know. What's pecan? I don't know what that is.
Well,
pea is like peeing in a can.
No,
pecan.
No, peas are green, little round green. P-E-A. It's spelled the same way, Daryl.
Oh.
Pecan. C-A-N at the end. See. I learned to read with phonetics.
Okay.
So I sound things out.
Okay. I got you.
It's a little different in my world.
Okay. It's a good world.
It's a pie. I don't care. I'm gonna eat it.
Mm.
So thank you.
Yes.
So you'll be making pies?
Yes.
Okay. So before I leave, I'll make sure that I have receptacle to put the
I make the best pecan pie in the world.
in the world?
Yes,
Can I put whipped cream on top of it?
you can.
Okay. You know when I always okay. So now that I know you make pecan
Not
pies.
pecan, you can.
I love this conversation. Okay, so I have a question though. What is the stuff underneath the pretty layer of pecans? What is that?
What is that?
Yeah.
I can't tell you.
Oh man.
It's a secret.
I don't know what that is. I know it tastes nice, but I don't know what it is.
Really?
At least with a pumpkin pie or a sweet potato pie, at least I know an apple pie, cherry pie, pecan pie.
You know, Stephen's had my pecan pie.
Oh, really?
Yes, he
okay,
has.
well, I'll have to check Stephen out.
Yes, yes.
He's still upright, so.
Yeah, you know, it was so good that, you know, for like 2 or 3 days, he was like having this kind of reaction because he needed some more.
Oh,
Yeah,
he was
yes.
having withdrawals.
Withdrawals.
When he didn't have
It's,
any more.
it's that good.
I don't know if I need a pie like that.
Well, you know, I mean, you know, if you got Ziploc bags, you can always just kind of carry some pie inside
a little
your
pie
bag.
in my bag.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, some people put hot sauce in their bag. I put pie in my bag.
Absolutely.
But hey, whatever it takes. Listen,
Yes.
Caribbean people walk around with food in their bags.
Is that right?
Yes. It's a common practice. Sandwich in a bag. Yeah, it's common. Very common for Caribbean people.
Do you know I have met so many Caribbean people over the last 2 years. I'm just surprised at the number of that you wouldn't even think were Caribbean. 'Cause, you know, I'm always looking for the accent.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people look for the accent, and there's a magic number to the whole accent thing. So wherever you're
Okay.
living between the ages of about 13 and 16 is where your accent actually establishes.
Really?
Yeah. When I meet people, and this is just a survey thing that I've done. When I
Okay.
meet people from other countries, I ask them what age they were when they left that country. And if they were before those teenage years, the early teenage years, if it was before that, their accent is probably not profound.
Okay.
Okay, but I grew up around Caribbean people, so if I'm with other Caribbean people, somehow it sort of, comes out.
It comes out.
Yeah, because people say to me, wow, that changed. And, you know, they're like, oh, well, you with your people, you sound different, no man. We just do. We just do. I was with a Jamaican girlfriend of mine this weekend, and they speak differently than other islands, even. Each island sounds a little different.
Okay.
You know, many of us speak a broken English, broken French, or some sort of Portuguese, Spanish thing. It just depends on where you come from. And so people are, sometimes they can pick out where you're from, and sometimes they can't.
Well, the thing that I've noticed when I'm around like a group of islanders, I have to slow down their speech in my head to understand them.
Yeah.
I can, but you know they talk so fast. You have to really phonetically sound it out in your head about what did they actually say, because it's in English.
It's funny.
Just
It's funny. When I was a kid, my dad, people would come to my house, my friends would come to my house, and my dad would greet them, and he would simply say, hi, how are you doing? And the way that his accent caused him to pronounce the English words, they would look at me for translation. I'm like, he spoke English. What is wrong with you?
Right.
You know, but I grew up listening to accents, so accents are not difficult to me from anywhere, whether they're from Europe, from anywhere. But something about your ear, you can train your ear to hear through the accent.
Do you speak a foreign language?
I Spanglish. I don't speak fluent Spanish. I Spanglish. I can interpret Spanish quicker than I can create the conversation.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I Spanglish. In previous employment situations, I learned how to do transactions. That was one of my goals, was to learn how to do a transaction for that business at least in Spanish, because that's like the second language, most profound, I think, second language in America is
True,
Spanish.
true.
So I Spanglish. Es más rápido as well. Very fast.
Okay.
So, and then even in Spanish, the dialects are different. They're faster depending upon where people are from, and
Really
so even
fast.
my Spanish translation, sometimes I'm like, I don't even know what you said. I caught the gist of it, but what did you say? Slow
What did you
down.
say?
Por favor, slow down, por favor.
Oh,
Es
gee.
más rápido. So anywho, so here's the last one. Here's the last thing, Daryl. So you got to be specific and know what job you're looking for when you want to ask someone to help you find a job. You've got to get their info so that you can get back with them, and you've got to do the research the company that they're leading you to. And the last one, we kind of touched on it already, is follow up. Make sure you follow up. You got their information. You know that you want to work at the place that they want to refer you to. You know that you want to be there. So make sure that you follow up. Let them know you're serious. They want to help you. Let them help you. Well, you know what? If you don't know it already, this is Working Wednesday with Miss D, the job coach, and I'll be right back.
Well, I was trying to get that in before you came up with the last one. It's okay.
You trying to do what?
Get that break in before you share the last one.
No, we'll talk more about it. It's fine. So it's my hope that at some point we can work together to sort of flow the production of the show so that you have the topics and we can plan the breaks and put other dialogue in there. If you're interested in that, we can, square it up a little bit. I can send you my topics before. So if you have things that come to mind or as it marinades, I don't know. It's up to you. I try to plan.
I think
I write my own show, so.
Yeah, if you do that, the other thing is that we can start to put images in with your video portion.
Right.
And you also need to do some liners, like I need you to do, hey, this is Miss T, the job coach.
Yeah, we need to record that.
Yes.
We need to record that. So yeah, we'll make some time to do all of that.
Yeah, we need all of that.
Because we's getting fancy around here. I love the technology. I love that we're cutting edge technology is important. People like that. They like the balance and having the visual. My folks that are following me here on Facebook, I love it. Thank you guys. Please be sure that you share, and I will share In Touch with you also. So you can please follow In Touch. This is not the only show that's on In Touch News Radio. I'd love for you to follow the other shows as well. Some captivating conversations. Listen, I'm gonna get in the room here with some of your folks soon. Because there's some conversations. I'm like, oh man. And then the thing
call in.
I do need to call in. Yeah, I called in a couple of times. They engaged me a little bit. They engaged me. But them brothers, some of them brothers rough.
Yeah, well, just jump right on in.
I love it though.
10 seconds.
I love it. It's just conversation. Kick the ideas around. It's Working Wednesday, y'all. Working Wednesday with Miss D, the job coach. It is Thanksgiving Eve, if that's a thing.
It is.
Okay, we've decided it's a thing. If you'd like to call in, the number is 813-444-9588. I would love to take your questions or your comments, so feel free to do that. And feel free to please follow us on social media. You can follow us on Facebook at In Touch News Radio. You can also follow Miss D, the job coach. You can follow me as Miss MSD, job coach, on all social medias. You know the ones I'm talking about. You can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, because I believe in social media. It's a great way to connect with folks. Some of people are watching us on Facebook now, and I encourage that. It's a way for you to build your network. It's a way for people to know who you are and what you are associated with, what you're affiliated with, and where you might be able to be of value in their lives. Everyone is building a network. Daryl, you're part of my network.
Oh, good. I feel honored to be a part of your network.
I am honored to be a part of your network.
Very good.
You know,
very
when
good.
somebody said to me, oh, Tampa Bay Tammy, yeah. Because a lot of people know your wife, and maybe
Yes, she's
maybe
the
they
star
know.
of the home.
She is the star.
Yes.
She is the star, and she believes in helping other people to shine as well.
She does.
I love her personality. When I attended the Power Couples Ball, I attended it as a single.
That's
They
okay.
allowed me to.
Yes.
They did look at the empty chair next to me and make funny faces at me, but that's
But
okay.
you had fun.
I had an amazing time. That is a beautiful event, Daryl. It really, really is.
Thank you.
And so, getting together with people who are movers and shakers and making something happen in the community is a huge part of growing your network. And
Yeah.
so I encourage people to get alongside of people who are doing things that are just interesting to you. You know, look in and find out, is there something you can do? Sometimes your networking can go beyond just talking specifically about your interest in jobs. Your network should also be part of what your purpose or your cause or things you're interested in. You know, look into that part of your network.
Mhm.
Follow up with people that maybe you did volunteer work with. Follow up with people who, you know, in your community that are doing things. People in your community that are doing things are attached to other people in your community that are doing things, right? So maybe you know someone and they can't necessarily hire you, but they know someone who knows someone. So don't forget about that as you think about your network. When you're at the holiday parties, when you're at Thanksgiving dinner, if there's somebody at the table that you know knows a lot of people, they might be the one that can help you. Maybe they don't have a job to offer you. They may be a frontline employee, but they do a lot of volunteer work, or they do a lot of other things in the community. They're involved in social clubs. They're involved in social networks that might be able to help you get a job. So don't forget about those people. Reconnect sometimes with folks.
You know, when you as you were talking, I got this visual. So every year we go to a friend's home. We've been going for the past 25 years during Thanksgiving. And so one of the things that we do is like we kind of sit around the fire and we smoke cigars and just have a good time. So and it's a man thing. So the men are there, and then one of the guys had one of his sons was there as well. Both of his sons were there, but one of them was sitting around the fire with us, and we were talking about jobs, and this was about 3 years ago, and I told him, I said, well, I know somebody that you could probably call. Here's the number. Give them a call. And I even gave him a website to go to. So about 4 or 5 days later, he called me. Said that he had reached out to somebody, left them their information, and asked me, could I follow up for him?
That's an excellent use of his network.
It was. And so I said, yeah, I could do that. And I did. And about 2 weeks later, he called me and said, hey, I got the job. And so I'm like, wow.
That's a success story.
That's a success story.
Absolutely.
Even though it was like a seasonal job, it was nonetheless, it was a job. And it was a successful, it was like all the steps that you said you should do, he did those things. Young kid. And I was actually surprised that he did it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And people ask me all the time what my success rate is and things like that. And I said, to the people who actually use the information that I give them, who actually apply it, it works.
It works.
Because the system that I developed was developed out of my experience on both sides of the desk. Things that I did well and not so well, alongside of what I observed others do well and not so well, and what I know about the hiring practices within companies from my background in human resources. So people say, well, is there a certification to become a job coach? And not that I'm aware of is what I want to say, but my certification is in the practical application of the things that I share with people. When people follow the steps, they have success. This is not just something that I made up, or I didn't copy it from somewhere. I got it from my experience, my 20 years of experience firing, hiring, training, and developing people in in
HR.
in human resources. Yeah, you know, and what's interesting to me is when people say, well, you know, go get this certificate and this, that, and the other. And I have nothing against getting certifications. Yes, I believe you should get educated in a field, but I also have a degree in business. I'm pursuing my master's degree in organizational development. So alongside of my experience is education as well. And when you have them hand in hand, when you have the information and it's validated, that's when someone is considered, in my opinion, a subject matter expert.
Mm. Okay.
When people ask me about my success rate, my answer is I didn't make it up. And when people actually apply what I give them, it does work. And so stories like the one you just told validates exactly what I said today. It does work. And I even had a guy when I did a workshop, a free workshop at a homeless shelter, and I suggested that people in the homeless shelter go and volunteer in the community to help themselves get back into the work world because some of them had been out for some time, or the jobs that they were previously doing were no longer available. They were displaced, and that's how they became homeless. There was a gentleman that followed up with me and said, Ms. D, when you told me to volunteer, I thought, look, woman, I need a job. I don't have the time to be volunteering somewhere. That's what he told me. He said, I thought what you said was ridiculous. He said, and then my back was against the wall. I wasn't getting any interviews, and I was driving myself crazy walking around doing nothing. So he did exactly what I said. He started volunteering at an organization that actually provided services to homeless people. So that was pretty funny because he went there with a level of passion for people who were in the same situation as he was. They eventually hired him, and he became a driver for their outreach program, you know, and he called me up after he did all of that. That was like a year and a half later. He called me up and said, I want to take you to dinner because I think you saved my life. He said, I was in a position where, he said, I was really, really in a low space because I couldn't find a job, and I just thought I was worthless at that point. I was living in a shelter. He goes, do you know what my background is? And he told me about all the successes he'd had in his life, and it was one little hiccup that landed him in the situation. He lost his job, and it spiraled down from there. And when I meet people and I help them along the way and I help them figure out how to navigate, that's what this thing is all about. That's what I do as a job coach. Yes, I work with people at many, many levels, but when I can help someone regain their self-worth and really be able to move on in life after tragedy is struck or after they've been in a really, really low place, those are the ones, Daryl, that give me the energy, the push, I don't know what the word is, to keep going on days when my business is challenging. Because you know, like I do, to be a business owner has its ups and downs, and it has good days and challenging days. And sometimes I get those calls from somebody that says, man, you really changed my perspective. You changed my life with the conversation we had. That keeps me going. That really does.
Well, good. Very good.
So thanks for sharing that story, because sometimes people get, they listen to programs, or they listen to master classes, or they listen to people talk about stuff, and they go, I wonder if that stuff really works. And what I can tell you from my experience, I've been a job coach, actively working and coaching as a job coach since I came to Tampa in 2011. I branded myself as Miss D, the job coach, in 2015, and so we're 3 years in now, and the success that we're seeing and the growth that we're having, and 2019 is just around the corner, and we're poised and ready to #change the world, you know.
Cool.
That's my thing. And Daryl, I thank you for seeing value in me sharing this information with the community. I thank you for giving me a chance to come on here. You didn't know me from Adam's House Cat, but you saw a need being filled, and so I thank you in the spirit of love and companionship.
You are more than welcome. I know that there is a need out there for somebody like you, and most people wouldn't think to hire a coach to help them find a job. But I see the need, and the more you put yourself out here, other people will begin to see the need. Even those that don't need a coach will be able to refer you to somebody else that needs your services.
I love that you said that because people ask me all the time about different forms of advertisement. And yes, I do some advertisement here and there, but much of my business comes from referrals.
Yes.
Someone that found me somewhere that I advertised,
Yeah.
and they knew that what I do would have value for somebody in their circle of influence. So I welcome your referrals. I welcome you to share my information. Share at Miss D the Job Coach. Share Miss D the Job Coach at gmail.com. Share my phone number of 704-277-8714. Somebody that you know might just want to have a 15-minute complimentary conversation with me to see if there's something that I can do to help them.
Mm-hmm.
One of the specials that I'm running right now includes an assessment of what your career path looks like now, and up to 4 coaching sessions in that program is $399. It has a much greater value than that, but for the end of the year, I'm doing that special because people are looking for what is it that I'm going to do in 2019, finding ways for people to have the avenue into the next level of their career, wherever they're coming from. And I tell every person that I do the 15-minute complimentary consultation with, when I tell them what the prices are, I simply tell them, please do not let money be the reason that you don't work with me. Please don't let it be money. Let it be something else, because I am very, very flexible, and I try to work with people because I know what it's like to be in a situation where you don't have 2 nickels to rub together,
Mm-hmm.
and subscribing to a service or paying somebody to help you do it just doesn't seem accessible. And what I can say, the heart of who I am, I'm a humanitarian first, and I know that I ate today, and I think everybody has a right to.
Wow, that's heavy. I'm so serious because I have. Let me tell you, just being able to eat can be a luxury.
Yeah. In America today, and and as advanced as we are, there are people that don't know if they're going to eat today. And what I tell people all the time is, the difference between today and tomorrow can be a quarter.
Wow, jeez. It used to be able to afford a phone call.
Yeah, doesn't even do that anymore.
They took the phones out.
Yeah, because everyone has one in their pocket, is at least what they think, and that's not really the truth.
No.
But together in a spirit of love and compassion for human beings, we can #change the world, Daryl. I believe that. I have a shirt that says that. I believe that we are here to change the world, and I'm going to do it one person at a time.
At a time.
This is Working Wednesday. I am Miss D, the Job Coach. We have come to an end today on Working Wednesday, Thanksgiving Eve. I want to wish you and your family and your friends and your frenemies a happy Thanksgiving, and I will see you next week.